So I've done a podcast, turned out good. Done a Facebook live video. It turned out well. And now I'm doing a live video and then I'm going to upload it over to YouTube. Does that make sense? That's how I have to do YouTube now. They don't let you do live YouTube anymore unless you're making tons of money. I got a little bit of the air on, and I don't even know if it's going to pick up sound. We may have to make this a short video just to see if the sound, my voice comes out, because I know sometimes the phone doesn't pick up really good voice. So we'll try it. We'll try it for a few minutes. I don't think we'll do a long video, but I wanted to get back on and talk some more. I'm a little upset and a little angry that your life can get turned around, by somebody making a false accusation about you. This is called Power Aid, and it's what my Social Security, food supplement card or whatever will allow me to buy. So they're buying it for me. They're very particular about what you buy, so you have to follow the regulations of whatever they say you can do or can't do. So I'm a little upset because anybody can say anything about you, and you're in trouble. You're just out of luck. You're in trouble. Your life has changed. You could lose your family, could lose your career, could lose money, could lose all kinds of stuff over false accusations. And in the first two presentations this morning, I was very specific and talked about those. Here's another. We're just talking about false accusations and the impact that they can have. You can take a worthless social worker who has very little to no education or training, and you can have them make a statement and, put it in your chart or something, or talk about it in staffing or something about, what would be an example? I know what it is. Client told me about this one. His therapist, social worker. That's not really a therapist, but they call themselves a therapist. Are they licensed? I don't think they're even licensed if they're social workers. But anyway, he called his client to his face toxic. Toxic. A supposedly licensed, authentic social worker, whatever that is, claims to be a Christian social worker, but he dropped out of the priesthood because he didn't want to live a life of, not having women or something. But had the gall and audacity to call his client toxic to his face. Well, fine for the so-called social worker. I guess that's a secondary gain, like, women get in a lot of cases, so that they get some attention. Even if it's a negative, it gets them attention. And this social worker um, which has been reported to the state, and he's actually being investigated right now, as a matter of fact. He gets a secondary gain from accusing a client of his to be toxic. Well, maybe you ought to talk about people that are toxic and give examples and be a little more therapeutic about what you're saying and how you say it. Well, this guy has no brains, so he clearly doesn't know. He leads people on a wild goose chase because of his quote-unquote Christianity. But I don't know. If you want to know his name, call me up. I'm happy to tell you who it is and who's being investigated. I'm happy to tell you who it is. So anyway, here's another example. A doctor here in the town where I live, like the social worker, he's a general practitioner, right? And just does whatever general practitioners do, I guess. Has I don't know, there's nurses that act in the capacity of seeing clients medically. I don't know what they call them, but there's a name for that. And I had heard that this nurse put herself out as a doctor and told a patient that he needed to go to the emergency room by ambulance immediately, and that his blood pressure was such and such. And come to find out, she's not a doctor, she was a nurse, and she had made an assumption about a preconceived outcome she was going to use on a patient. Patient eventually went on down to the emergency room on his own and checked himself in to get seen, and the ER doc said, "You're the healthiest 72-year-old I've ever seen in my life, and you have no signs of cardiovascular disease or problems, and your blood pressure is excellent." I don't know. People can say almost anything. Now, what happens with that scenario, and there's a follow-up to this, so hang on, is that gets broadcast all over that guy's chart to anybody who sees him. There's a history now of that event, which wasn't an event, never happened. Now, did she go back and say I was wrong and none of that was accurate, none of that was truthful? No. That has to do with ethics and standards. The doctor who she does work under had a partner who was a psychiatrist, and he died. I don't know, maybe they were good friends, maybe they weren't. The doctor, GP, seemed to enjoy probably learning about psychology out of Better Homes and Garden or something. Obviously had no obvious training in psychology or neuroscience, knew nothing about it. Approaches a client who was in just for, I don't know, some kind of stupid physical or whatever, and starts talking to him about having a psychiatric disorder. This makes me mad. This makes me very mad. So the patient says, I don't have any of that. What are you talking about? I've been in psychology for 55 years. You don't know what you're talking about. You get that out of Better Homes and Garden or what? That mistake, error, goes in his chart and goes to every single person who ever sees him in the past or the future. It's called ethics and standards. He's since been turned in to the medical board, and the medical board is secretively investigating him. You can't do that stuff. You can't make stuff up. You can't do that. You can't make stuff up. This is called Mountain Berry Blast. Mixed berries, I guess, is the taste. But anyway, so it goes the same thing for parents, mom and dad, when you start teaching little boy, little girl, young kids, modeling behavior to them that's not accurate, teaching them behavior that's not accurate or ethical or, good for their mental health and behavior that they're going to carry around with them the rest of their life. It makes me very, very mad that those parents get away with that stuff. And then we, as practitioners, have to figure out how to work around those issues when people present later in life as an adult. It goes back to programming. When the teenage girl or the girl in her 20s or 30s or 40s or whatever decides to start making false representation about males, he's stalking me, that girl should be arrested and put into treatment. That girl should be deprogrammed and reprogrammed. The mother or father are probably long gone anyway by now, and they don't have to be responsible or take responsibility for the wrong they did. But the girl who misrepresents a guy needs to be deprogrammed, needs to be put in placement, treatment, long-term, and reprogrammed. She's going to hurt somebody or several people or a lot of people throughout her life. The Catholic Church has some, and boy, there's another whole topic we ought to get into, but the Catholic Church has a course that you have to take to see if you're qualified to get married. Catholic Church. We should make a policy in the United States that girls especially need to go through a course to see if they're mentally sound to get married and not be abusive. That's abuse, is what that is. That could be abuse from that girl to a senior citizen, somebody older. It could be abuse to a husband, to a boyfriend. And they should be able to be held responsible legally in the court of law for that. Programming is not something a mother and father should take lightly. It's serious, serious business. And we see kids and young adults and adults all over the world doing repugnant things as a result of their mother or father. We need to tighten that up. So anyway, that's kind of the little video, and I hope you listen to it again. Don't get mad at me, just that's 55 years of research. I don't make this stuff up. This is what comes into my office and what I listen to. If some other therapist says he's never heard it, then he's not a therapist. Or social worker, I guess they don't get to hear stuff. So anyway, God bless everybody. Take care of one another, and I look forward to talking to y'all again real soon. Thanks a lot. See you. Bye.